I never thought my life would unravel in a single moment. One night, standing in our bedroom with Daniel's phone in my shaking hands, I saw messages that made my knees buckle. Words I thought were meant only for me. I cannot stop thinking about you. Last night was perfect. When can I see you again? Were written to another woman. My world collapsed right there. My husband, the man who kissed my forehead every morning and told me I was his everything, had been cheating on me for months. Before I go deeper into this, let me pause for a moment. To all my loyal subscribers, thank you from the bottom of my heart for returning to watch these stories. You are the reason I pour myself into this channel. And to those who are new here, welcome. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because it truly fuels me to keep creating. Please, do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments as the story unfolds. Your voices mean more than you know. Now, let me tell you everything. My name is Emily. I am 34 years old, a wife, and a mother of two. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Indiana, in a home filled with memories, birthdays, anniversaries, family dinners, late-night laughter. For 10 years, I thought I had a perfect marriage. My husband, Daniel, 36, is a strong, hardworking man. He is the kind of husband other women would envy, at least that is what I thought. He worked long hours, but he always made time for us. He was affectionate, protective, and attentive. Or, at least, that is who he was before things started to change. I remember the shift. It was slow at first. Daniel began staying later at work. He claimed it was projects, deadlines, clients who needed his attention. His phone became glued to him, always face down on the counter or locked in his pocket. When I asked him about it, he would smile and say I was imagining things. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe in us. But love has a way of blinding you to the truth until it is too painful to ignore. One evening, I was folding laundry when his phone buzzed on the nightstand. He was in the shower. I never snooped before, but that night something inside me cracked. I picked it up, hesitated, and then swiped the screen. What I saw changed everything. There were messages from a woman named Jessica. Not just messages. Pictures. Smiling selfies, nights out together. Even one of her lying in bed with a caption, "I wish you were here." My throat closed, my stomach twisted, and my vision blurred with tears. I scrolled, and the deeper I went, the worse it became. This was not a fling. This was an affair. One that had been going on for months. I could not breathe. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. My hands shook so violently that I almost dropped the phone. I heard the shower turn off, and panic surged through me. I placed the phone back exactly where it had been and rushed downstairs, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break my ribs. All night, I replayed those messages in my head. Every smile he had given me, every "I love you," whispered in the dark suddenly felt like a lie. How long had I been sleeping next to a stranger? The next morning, Daniel kissed me on the cheek before work like he always did. I stood frozen in the kitchen, coffee mug in my hand, wondering how he could touch me with lips that had kissed her. I wanted to scream, to throw the mug against the wall, to demand the truth right then and there. But fear held me back. Fear of the answer. Fear of what it would mean for our children, for our family, for everything we had built. Instead, I began to watch him closely. Every late-night text, every unexplained work trip, every call he took outside the house now had a new weight. And as I pieced it together, the evidence piled higher. My husband was not just cheating. He was living a double life. One night, he claimed he had to stay late at work. But when I checked the GPS on our shared car app, his car was not at the office. It was parked at a hotel across town. That was when the denial shattered, and the truth stabbed me clean through. He was with her. While I sat at home with our children, folding laundry and making dinner, he was lying in another woman's bed. I did not confront him that night. I sat in our bedroom, staring at the wedding photo on the wall, my heart breaking into pieces I could not put back together. The man smiling in that picture was not the man I was married to anymore. But the confrontation was coming. And when it came, it would rip our lives apart. The night I confronted Daniel is etched into my soul like a scar. It was a Thursday evening. The children were in bed, the dishes stacked in the sink, and the hum of the dishwasher filled the silence of our kitchen. He walked in later than usual, loosening his tie, his smile rehearsed, his kiss on my cheek nothing more than a habit. But I had already made up my mind. That night, the truth would leave no shadows. I had printed the messages. Every word, every picture, every plan he made with Jessica. They were tucked inside an envelope, heavy in my hand like a weapon. My heart pounded so loud I was sure he could hear it. When he set his briefcase down and poured himself a drink, I slid the envelope across the table. His brow furrowed, his eyes shifting from the envelope to my face. He asked what it was, but I stayed silent. He opened it, and as the papers spilled out, his world and mine shattered. I watched his expression change: shock, fear, shame. His lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. He ran a hand over his face, his body sagging under the weight of exposure. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The air between us was suffocating. My hands trembled, but my voice was steady when I finally broke the silence. "How long, Daniel? How long have you been lying to me? To us?" He tried to answer, but his words stumbled. "Emily, please, it was a mistake." I laughed. A bitter, broken laugh that sounded nothing like me. A mistake? Mistakes do not last for months. Mistakes do not book hotels. Mistakes do not whisper "I love you" to another woman while your wife is at home raising your children. His eyes filled with tears, but I was beyond tears. Mine had already been cried in silence, in the dark, when he was out with her. He tried to reach for my hand, but I pulled back like his touch burned me. "Do not touch me," I whispered. The anger inside me surged, but beneath it was a wound so deep it terrified me. I thought of every night he came home late, every time he smiled at me while texting her behind my back, every kiss that tasted of betrayal. Finally, he spoke, his voice cracked. "I never stopped loving you, Emily. I swear it was not about you. I was lost. I made the worst mistake of my life." The words hung in the air, useless, empty. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw every dish in the kitchen against the wall. Instead, I whispered the truth I had been choking on for weeks. "You broke me. Do you understand that? You broke the one person who trusted you more than anyone." The children stirred upstairs, their soft voices drifting down, and suddenly the weight of it all crushed me. This was not just about us. It was about them too, about the family we had built, the future we had promised. I told him to sleep in the guest room. He obeyed without argument, carrying his pillow down the hallway like a defeated man. I lay in our bed alone, staring at the ceiling, my body trembling. The sheets smelled like him, like home, but they also smelled like lies. The next morning, he sat at the table, his coffee untouched. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands shaking. He said he wanted to explain, to tell me everything. I almost told him I did not want to hear it, but part of me needed to know the whole truth. That was when the twist cut deeper than I thought possible. It was not just any affair. Jessica was not some random woman. She was a co-worker I had met once at his office party. A woman who smiled at me, shook my hand, and complimented my dress. A woman who looked me in the eye while sharing secret glances with my husband. The betrayal doubled in that moment. My knees went weak, and I gripped the counter to steady myself. "You brought her into my world," I whispered. "You let her stand in my home, shake my hand, and laugh with me while you were sleeping with her. Do you have any idea what that feels like?" He collapsed into tears, begging, pleading, saying it was over, that he ended it weeks ago. But the damage was done. The images in my head, the memories of her smile, were wounds that would not close easily. That night, the children asked why Daddy was not sleeping in his room. I forced a smile and said he was not feeling well. But inside, I felt like my whole life was unraveling thread by thread. The storm had arrived, and it was only just beginning. The days that followed the confrontation were a blur of silence, anger, and exhaustion. Daniel moved into the guest room permanently, and our home felt like a war zone where no bombs fell, but everything was still destroyed. The sound of his footsteps in the hallway made my chest tighten. The sight of his toothbrush beside mine in the bathroom made me sick. Even the simple act of pouring his coffee in the morning felt like betrayal replaying itself. I avoided him as much as I could. We exchanged words only when it concerned the children, and even then, my sentences were clipped, my eyes avoiding his. He tried to talk. He left notes. He cooked dinner one evening and set the table with candles, but I could not bring myself to sit across from him. I shut myself in the bedroom and cried until my body ached. It was not just the cheating. It was the months of lies. The deception. The way he looked me in the eye every day while sneaking around at night. That was the wound that festered most. One evening, my best friend, Laura, came over. I had not told many people, but Laura had known me since college. She took one look at my face and pulled me into her arms. "You cannot hold this all in, Emily," she whispered. "You are drowning." I confessed everything. The texts, the hotel, the co-worker I had met without knowing she was sleeping with my husband. Laura's eyes filled with tears, and she shook her head. "You have every right to walk away. No one would blame you." Her words sank deep. For the first time, I let myself imagine divorce. Papers on the table. Splitting the house. Sharing custody of the children. Starting over alone. The thought terrified me, but it also offered a twisted kind of relief. That night, when the kids were asleep, I told Daniel I wanted to talk. He looked at me like a starving man being offered bread. We sat at the kitchen table, the envelope of printed messages still between us, like a third person. "I do not understand how you could do this to me," I said, my voice shaking.
To us.
"To our family." He broke then. He cried harder than I had ever seen him cry. His hands shook, his words spilling out in broken sentences. He admitted everything. The guilt, the shame. The way he fell into Jessica's arms during a season when he felt unseen, unworthy, overwhelmed. He said it was never about love. It was escape. A selfish escape that cost him everything that truly mattered. "Emily," he said, choking on my name, "I hate myself for what I did. I ended it. I swear I ended it. I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that I can be the man you married. Please, please do not give up on me." I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to throw every lie back in his face.
But all I did was cry.
Because as much as I hated him in that moment, I also remembered the man who held my hand when our daughter was born. The man who stayed up all night when our son had a fever. The man who prayed with me when my father passed away. Could I really throw all of that away? In the weeks that followed, we agreed to counseling. The sessions were brutal. I unloaded years of pain in that office. Every doubt, every insecurity, every scar his betrayal left on me. He listened. Sometimes he broke down. Sometimes he fought back. But slowly, brick by brick, we began to rebuild something. Not what we had before, but something new, fragile, and real. There were nights I woke up shaking, remembering the texts, the hotel, the laughter she shared with him. He would hold me, whispering apologies until I fell asleep again. There were days I could not look at him without seeing her face, and he would let me cry, never once walking away. One evening, months later, we sat on the porch watching the sunset. The children played in the yard, their laughter echoing. Daniel reached for my hand. For the first time, I did not pull away. His touch felt familiar and foreign all at once, like coming home to a house you had not stepped into in years. "I do not deserve you," he said softly.
No, y whispered.
"You do not. But if we are going to survive this, you will spend the rest of your life proving that you can." He nodded, tears in his eyes. And in that moment, I chose not to throw our marriage away. Not because he deserved it, but because forgiveness, as impossible as it felt, was the only way I could save myself from drowning in bitterness. Reconciliation did not erase the past. The scars remained. The trust was fragile. But slowly, with time, we began to find each other again. We chose to fight, not for what we lost, but for what we could still build. And that, I realized, was the cruel truth about betrayal. It destroys, it shatters, it leaves you bleeding. But it also forces you to decide, do you walk away or do you rebuild? I chose to rebuild. And though it nearly broke me, I believe it saved us too.